Dr. Hathaway.
Charles Dance. And budget.
That's what Christina's been waiting for.
Hello.
Hi there.
How's it going?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, fantastic. I'm living the dream.
Oh, I see what you've done there because I know what we're watching.
I'm just so punny.
Oh, man.
Ooh, I got them all.
What is it that we're watching today?
Okay, well, on Pineapple Lemon, we
Yes.
are watching The Sandman.
Ooh, the TV show. I don't know if you know a ton about the history of The Sandman in general.
No, I do not.
It was originally a graphic novel comic book
Okay.
by Neil Gaiman, who is somebody
Yes,
you
sir.
do know.
I do know that name.
And for the longest time, people said this could never be made into a movie. This could never be made into anything. And then this TV show came out.
And this masterpiece occurred.
I think we both agree we like this show a lot.
Oh my gosh. I remember sitting down with my mom to watch this show. And I remember it goes on and I'm like, I don't know what we're about to get into. Did not know what to expect. And I was almost in tears.
Wow. They got you.
It was so beautiful. The cinematography, the music, the costumes, the acting, the budget.
Yes, the budget.
And you can tell it's a passion project.
Yeah, and definitely Neil Gaiman was a huge part of signing off on it, being like, this is the show, and I know fans are going to like
it
it.
has to be done.
Yes.
Yes.
I have not read all of the comics yet. I've only read up to the point of where the show's up to, so the Welcome
Okay.
to the Dollhouse arc.
Yes.
I have read up to that. I'm planning on reading more of it before the next season comes out. As far as we know, there's another season coming out.
It's confirmed. Netflix has confirmed that there is another season. If there wasn't, I think we would riot.
We've both seen all the episodes of this show, but if you haven't seen this show before and don't know the concept, can you give me a little something?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so here's the plot summary according to IMDb. Upon escaping after decades of imprisonment by a mortal wizard, Dream, the personification of dreams, sets about to reclaim his lost equipment.
We begin.
I love it. It's not like once upon a time.
Nothing has happened yet, and Christina's already on board.
We begin. I just love it. That's like you never start
Literal
off like
blank
that.
screen.
Which humanity insists on calling the real world.
The types of stories that these tell, episodes are pretty much like volumes of the comics. Sometimes that's not always the case, but a lot of them are very self-contained in the episode, and I really like that. It makes each episode stand out a lot.
Yeah, I definitely feel like each episode feels like its own, but everything again has that through line. So they're all like seamlessly connected. So they flow very well.
Yeah.
It's not like here's one block, here's another block, here's another block, and that's it. That's all you get. Like it's a very continuous story.
And I think that's partly, like I was saying before, the nature of comic books is you can really expand on your storytelling because you can do so much and you can show so many different visuals with them too.
I'm the king of dreams.
What are your feelings on Dream?
It took me a while to warm up to him.
Yeah? I
was-
like him so much.
At first he's like, you're like, who is this? He doesn't talk a lot. And then it's like, sorry, shout out. He's from Outlander, guys.
Oh, God.
Ned Gower, the lawyer, season 1, season 2. And then I think he comes back in like season 4 or something like that. But anyways, you'll notice there's a lot of big actors in this.
Oh, yeah. People wanted to do this. This was a big thing. I mean, Patton Oswalt plays a voice. That is freaking Luke Skywalker right there as Mark Hamill is Pumpkinhead.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. And they got Derek Jacobi for that one part, like in the last episode. Gwendolyn Christie.
Oh, yeah.
And you could tell that everyone that was there wanted to be there.
Oh,
and was
yeah.
having such a time. Like, it all just feels so flawless. Like, the costumes are on point. I didn't see any issues with the acting. Like, everyone was, like, very...
I like that you weren't like, I love the acting. It's like, I didn't see any issues.
I love that Dream uses these tokens.
Yeah, his mask is
And
such
then
a
he just
good...
never uses them the rest of the series.
His mask is such a good shape. Like, they did a really nice job of making a mask that you can identify.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's the Sandman mask.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
It's not just your typical 1940s war mask.
It's like
it's a very distinct look. I'd be curious to look up where this filming location is because I feel like it has been used in multiple other like productions.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think also a big part of this is like the timelines of the story are so far reaching because you're dealing with immortals essentially.
Yes.
So what's one child's lifetime to them? So you get these stories where they span for so many years.
Yeah.
Father likes to be called Magus. It means sorcerer.
Just call me Sorcerer.
Sorcerer Supreme.
On my bowling team. Just put it on the back of my jersey. Sorcerer. You didn't see anything. We weren't doing anything at all in that room.
These are not the droids you're looking for.
These are not the weird rituals you just saw.
Dr. Hathaway.
Charles Dance. And budget.
That's what Christina's been waiting for. You have like a 6 degrees of separation with everything you watch. I feel like there's the same actors in everything.
I know.
There's always one.
I know. Sometimes I swear it's not on purpose. Then sometimes
It just
really
happens.
is. I mean, you have to take a second to kind of acknowledge that they're sons. They're like, if you didn't pay attention to the time period that scene is currently taking place in, you're like, why? Okay, why do they want their sons back? Well, it's because their sons just died in World War I. So that's why they're very much like, I want my son back.
But they also don't know like what forces they're playing with here.
Well, that's why you don't play with a Ouija board, because you don't know what forces you're playing with. I think it's the same thing, right? Anytime
This ritual is not the same as a Ouija board.
I'm not saying it is. I'm saying that you don't.
You don't mess
anything
with
you're trying to conjure something.
Okay.
Conjuring.
Oh, we see the Corinthian in this episode?
Yeah, very.
I didn't remember that.
I summon you with poison.
I'm glad people enjoy the show because I felt like it was a bit of a hard sell when I was trying to explain to people what it's about, because it's not really how it starts is not how it ends.
No, it's really not.
Now the jewel. There.
Can't believe he's making his son do all this.
Right?
He's like, I'm not risking it.
You can blame it on his knee. I just can't do it.
Yeah, it would be so nice if you could just reach over there, disturb what we think is death.
Who could not wake up?
This is so important. And because I had that big gap, I forgot about this.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh.
Well, you could say that he made me what I am today.
They don't show the eyeballs in this one, do they? The Corinthians' eyes. They save that, right?
I think they do.
Were you surprised at that choice?
It was quite interesting. And it took me a couple takes to actually
Know what it was.
I was like, what? Because I was just expecting them to be empty.
Yeah.
But they're not.
No, I suppose not.
What if he just can't hear him because of the glass?
Could you imagine? Oh my gosh, that would have been hilarious.
What? What are you saying?
What? Write it down. I liked later on, in later episodes, that you get to see other people's dreams. And it's just interesting, like, what do people dream about?
Yeah, it's also the weird thing of dream logic, and putting that on film is always a fun thing that you get to do.
It's also interesting to see them, like, even attempt to put, like, people's dreams for show, because dreams are a very intimate thing.
Yeah.
And I like the range that they had for it.
Well, it's also, if you have the ability or you're telling a story about dreams, why not go as big as you can and do whatever you want? You know, why limit yourself to the basic, like, oh no, I woke up in the middle of class. Like, I didn't study for my test. Like, no, you can do whatever you want.
Until they get here, if you wanted to go.
Why would they talk so candidly without even checking to see if anyone's around?
Right? Like, yeah, sometimes you just gotta vent about stuff, but usually if you're venting about somebody and they're nearby, you make a point to, like, close a door or something.
At least leave the room. Like,
Step
you just
outside.
stepped outside of the basement. This is some real sad boy aesthetics.
Real is.
This is the good stuff.
I just feel like you should be listening to some
What do you got? What are you gonna pull out?
Green Day, Linkin Park,
My Chemical Romance.
My Chemical Romance. Yeah.
Or just heavier emo stuff.
I didn't listen to a lot of that music. So I don't have any more names to pull out of that hat there. So that's about where my cap
Christina's
is.
just like, I'm just a kid and I like
It's relatively simple.
Same. It's like, why is this drone following me?
how is it doing such a good job? I'm trying to shake it.
Rest. No, it followed me.
Now it's a close up.
Now it's just taunting him.
Honestly, like we know what's going on, but if you just thought this was a regular bird. No!
Rip.
The first time I watched that, I was so upset. It was so abrupt.
Because you're not really expecting it, right?
Not like that.
But I'm going to have a baby.
Like, does he not find this awkward? Like, he was after this girl and the girl went with his father.
Was he after her though?
I mean, I feel like initially that was my thought, but
He's just kind of awkward in general though.
yeah. Do you really think like that kind of small of a bump would be enough? I guess it just depends on where it hits.
If that glass is meant to make sure a human can't break out of it.
But he's not human.
If it's meant to make sure a non-human can't break out of it, I think it's pretty strong.
Mm-hmm.
For 9 months later, Ethel Cripps gave birth to a son.
And I'm sure this won't be an issue that comes up later.
I was trying to remember this and I was like, I'm trying to remember if that was resolved or if he's still just chilling.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine? You were just like, oh, I kind of like this person. And then he invites you to go see his basement where he has Dream in it.
I have a person held captive. Here you go. Great first date.
Yeah.
Let's do it again.
You know, those people that have been like asleep for a really long time, it's because of this guy. He's just been in my basement.
Yeah, just chilling because I don't want to let him go.
In my little fish tank that we've made for him.
And if I let you out, will you promise not to harm us?
He hasn't spoken to you in like 20 years. What makes you think he's going to speak to you now?
If we ask really, really nicely.
If we say please.
Please, Mr. Dream. Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream.
Doom, 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 doom.
Only if you sing it. Uh-oh.
Smudgy smudge.
Uh-oh. Bring out the chalk.
Grab the chalk. Stat.
Here he comes.
Coming to get you.
As simple as a dream of the beach. That's all he needs. Mm-hmm. Oh, and you gave him lots of sand. It's perfect for him. This is so like comic book stuff, though.
Yeah.
All these kind of frames. This one especially. This is right out of the comics. There it is. There's the money shot.
Oh, ascension.
It's you. Yeah.
Look at that.
I love it.
Oh, yeah.
The angles,
The eyeballs.
coloring.
Oh, they do show it.
Very quickly.
It's very subtle if you're not looking
Yeah.
for it.
You almost have to pause.
Yeah, or you might just be like, wait, did I see something? Wow.
That's a door.
Show it off. Look at it.
That's a tall door.
I think it's taller than me.
Just by a little bit. Not by much, though. I think it's pretty close.
I'm actually a 100-foot tall woman. You can't prove me otherwise.
Look, you can be whatever you want to be.
In my dream.
In your dreams.
I made this run once, Lucien. I will make it again.
But better.
I'm going to add a jacuzzi.
An amusement park. A hot dog stand.
I was going to say that. Wow.
Same wavelength. We're all thinking about hot dogs right now.
And that's the end of the first episode of Sandman.
Sandman. I kind of want to watch it all over again.
Christina's going to rewatch the entire series.
No, I got a list of other things I got to get to first before I can rewatch anything.
But I think just talking about this episode in particular,
Mm-hmm.
you're thrown right into things. It's a very different way of storytelling where the protagonist is not really in the episode that much because he's not talking for the most part.
Yeah,
of it.
he's just like, he's physically there, but he's not. And I guess you could say he is engaging with other characters, but he's not really doing too much.
He's trapped.
He's trapped. He's like, yeah, he can't do much. But I remember like when I first watched this, not really knowing what to expect, and I was kind of nervous that it was going to be one of those things where it's going to be really hard to kind of understand what's happening.
Sure.
Until you get like 3 or 4 episodes in. But I was actually surprised by like, you know, they had me right from the start. Like I was right into it. They were explaining things well. I was able to pick up on like the subtle things.
Yeah.
So I thought that they did a very, very good job of like bringing in a whole new audience.
This show is very much like, this is the arc we're telling right now. The next episode, you're getting something completely different. Yes, there's the through line. Yes, it is about the Sandman. But I love that it is all these different stories that by the end of it, you feel like it's such a rich experience. Because there's a lot you
don't
to see.
and you don't feel like it's, you know, they're blocks. Like there's one here, one there. It's like you said, there's a through line. They all have something in common. Sometimes characters overlap and the stories overlap. But the way that they start by telling it as almost like a story, you know, as a dream.
Yeah.
That's what I found was very captivating. Was just like right from the start, they had you. And the way that they seamlessly transitioned between the different time periods, it didn't feel like
a
it.
dream.
Like a
almost.
dream almost. It didn't feel like it. Because sometimes when they do the time transitions, it's very choppy
Yeah.
and like hard cuts. This felt very, very seamless of like, you kind of, the time period didn't really matter.
I think we both recommend the show.
Yes.
So I don't want to spoil future episodes
No.
in case people want to go watch
100%,
them.
100%.
But we will just touch on, obviously, the diner episode is a pretty big deal.
That one does have a trigger warning, I believe.
Yeah. Even
It's a hard episode to watch, and I actually I remember watching that with my mom, and because you had given me the warning, I gave my mom the warning, and I looked at each other afterwards like, oh, it wasn't that bad. But then I just was like, wow, we're really desensitized.
I personally, that part of the comic really got to me. So I was a bit waiting for it to happen in the show. Like I was anticipating it. So it probably does read differently when you're just watching the show itself.
I think it's the episode after, for those of you who know what that is. That one was actually hard for me to watch.
Yes.
Because for me, the timing in which I watched that was just after I had gone through something, and it was very relevant. And I thought I was going to be in tears the whole time watching it, but I just thought it was very beautiful.
I think that's a lot of people's favorites.
And very well done. The one scene that stands out to me the most is the baby.
Yes.
And that was so heartbreaking, but they cut at the perfect
They do a really
moment.
good job on that episode.
That episode was like, oh, I will praise that episode. It was
And
beautiful.
Along with that is there's a man who lives a very long time, and the Sandman drops in periodically to talk to him.
I love that.
I love that.
I love
That's
that.
probably my favorite.
We'll meet it again in 100 years.
That's probably my favorite
On the day.
like part of the comic I've read so far. I just love that story and that concept, and I appreciate the way
a really interesting thing too. The concept of, okay, well, you now have these two people who are, this one person wants to be immortal and this other guy is immortal as well, grants him immortality, and then as a joke, they're like, oh, we'll meet up in 100 years. Yeah, sure, whatever. And then they almost like, they actually follow through with it, and it becomes a running gag. And you're like, okay, we'll see you in another 100 years.
I like the way the show did it too, because it is again a bit different in the way they interact with each other. So I just some standout episodes. Again, I don't want to give away stuff because go experience
it's hard too because every single episode is so good.
Yeah, we could talk about more and more parts of it, but again, I just don't want to spoil things. But
No,
like,
yeah,
those
not
are some of the
spoiling.
really big standout episodes.
Yeah.
And then you get into a whole another arc. We were kind of telling.
Oh my gosh. No, it's like I said at the start. It's like book 1, book 2. Like there's 2 different acts to this season. And because I think because I did take a break right at the end of Act 1, not realizing it, going back like months later and watching Act 2, it definitely felt like 2 separate things that like kind of merged together a bit. But if you watch it, you know, consistently, you know, not one sitting, but you know what I mean, like regularly, instead of leaving a big space in between, I think it would make a bit more sense.
You kind of did it at the right time, though. At least, you know,
I know.
It worked out.
Unknowingly stopped it at the right time. Yeah.
There was also the initial 10 episodes, and then a while after that, they dropped a bonus episode. So I'm wondering if maybe they do that again. Maybe we just drop an episode here and there for like little arcs throughout the season.
Yeah.
I don't
little
mind
side
it.
arcs
Yeah.
that, you know, you didn't get a chance to tell in the main arc, but they still have relevance and they help drive the story forward.
And it just fleshes out the world more.
It does.
And maybe there's parts of the comics that they want to get to, but they might not really fit into the overarching season. So I'm like, if you want to do just random one-off episodes,
like the cat thing,
that's kind of cool. Like, who's doing that?
And I get it. I liked how with this extra episode, it was 2 in 1.
Yeah.
They played with animation and then live action. Like I was like, what is this?
Did I put on the wrong show?
I know. I wondered if I put the wrong show on because I was expecting to be like a full, proper, you know, continuing episode. But the way that the episode 10 ended, it was very much like, this is obviously the season finale. Like, obviously. So then I'm like, what's episode 11 going to be? And then you just see animated cats and you're like, what is this? What am I watching?
I like this show. I'm excited to see more from it.
Yes. Let us know if you've seen this show before, or if we've intrigued you to watch the show.
Yeah.
And once you do watch it, let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below.
Do you have anything else?
Oh, that's it. I want to rewatch it.
Thank you so much for watching with us.
It's been a blast and a half.
Had a really good time.
As always.
You could like this video.
Or subscribe, even better.
If you want to see something for us to watch in the future, like a movie or TV show, please let us know in the comments.
And we'll get on that right away for you.
Yeah.
Woohoo!